Hi, I'm Ari, and welcome to the Foundry, specifically to our interview series where we'll be meeting student entrepreneurs, and we're really excited to have you here today. I have a very special guest. I'm excited to get to know her, and I'm excited for all of you to get to know her. So let's get started. First, can you tell me your name, your connection to UVA, and a little bit about yourself?
So I'm Nicole. I'm a second year here at UVA, and I'm entering the McIntyre School of Commerce next year. And right now I own a business called Lumeria that focuses on custom and embroidered apparel. And I work with a lot of colleges and their clubs and organizations, for example, at UVA. So I've worked with different clubs such as like Who's in Trouble, Hullabahoos, etc. And I have a college ambassador team of 8 members, so we're in schools such as Vanderbilt, Indiana, Alabama, and more.
What clubs and organizations are you part of at UVA?
So at UVA, I'm a service committee chair and small group leader in the Women's Leadership Development Program.
Yes.
I'm also on the competitive ping pong team here at UVA.
I didn't even know we had that.
And I'm also in the Virginia Venture Fund.
Wow, okay. You're very versatile. That's awesome. And I'm sure you've met a lot of people through all of those clubs. Can you tell me a little bit about the issue that your business is aiming to solve, and how did you, decide to start Lumeria?
So the problem I'm trying to solve, there's this endless cycle of the need for college merch or college club merch, and then the big printing companies like Custom Ink, their unit prices are kind of insane. If you're a smaller club organization, you have to pay like $30 for a t-shirt, while the companies that do focus on college merch, they're mainly prioritizing sororities and fraternities and just Greek life. So I'm aiming for this gap for clubs and organizations. Since we're like a bit of a smaller company, I feel like we're building the sense of customer loyalty. So we have relationships with the clubs we work with, and this ends up in them just continuing to return and order again. And through our college ambassador program as well, we provide different opportunities for students. So we have work opportunities with our college ambassador program. We have a platform for student artists to share their work, and we also just allow them to connect with each other.
That is really cool, and I'm sure a lot of UVA organizations definitely need that business for sure. How did you come up with the name for your business, and what was your first steps in getting started?
So it's kind of like a silly way that we kind of got the name. I was watching like TikTok one day, and I saw
I saw
this TikTok, and it was like, oh, like these are names for like cat names. And I saw Lumeria on there, and I was like, wait, that kind of like sounds good for a business name. So I just took it and ran with it. I just made Shop Lumeria as my Insta handle. And the way I started it, it was kind of a long story. So in middle school, I had this thrifting and reselling business where I just went to thrift stores and I kind of resold. And through that, I made around $2,000 profit.
Wow.
And then through that, using the profit, I bought an embroidery machine because I saw everyone that I was following, they're posting embroidered apparel and they were selling out. So I was like, I have to join in. And then through that, I started to auction off different like embroidered crew necks. I just made them and then I sold them. But then after I entered college, I kind of like, I took those comm classes and stuff, and I learned about like B2B, and I was like, wait, that's kind of a good idea too. So I started reaching out to a lot of college clubs and organizations. I just used my personal Instagram. I just found the executives of clubs, and I just DM'd them all. And through that, like, it was really scary at first, but through that, I was able to get some initial sales. And now afterwards, like, kind of like word of mouth, like people have heard of it. So now instead of me reaching out to them, they come to me.
It sounds like you've kind of been an entrepreneur your whole life. Like from the start, you have that entrepreneurial mindset. That's awesome. Is there anything in your childhood or like when you were growing up that kind of inspired you to lean towards business, or was it something that kind of happened out of the blue?
Yeah, so like as you said, like it seems like I did it my whole life. Like I feel like I kind of have. Like when I was in elementary school, I had this origami business.
Wow.
Yeah, where it was weird. Like in 5th grade, I kind of made this like basketball hoop out of origami, like sticky notes. And then
That's so cool.
I had like those little paper stars, and then I made people pay me sticky notes to play. And then if they won, they would get like a ninja star, like in return.
Wow.
But it was like kind of rigged, so I just got a lot of free sticky notes. But that's kind of like the general gist. Like then just later on, I continued my business in middle school and high school, and now just like right now.
How did you branch out to other colleges? You said you have 8 ambassadors, like all over.
Yeah. So kind of like I have a lot of mutuals with different schools. So I started off with UVA at first, but I realized I had mutuals at different universities too, like Virginia Tech or VCU. So I just did all that outreach myself in the beginning. I just reached out to everybody, but then I realized I put out in a college ambassador program application, and then through that I got some like applications from those different schools like Indiana, Alabama, and then I accept them, and then afterwards I kind of do like an onboarding meeting with them and kind of just train them on the way I do the sales, and now it's just continuing to grow.
How do you find the time to balance school, your personal life, and running a business?
The way I kind of try to balance everything is that I just try to make as much time as possible for my business, and I try to be productive, and I kind of set my priorities straight. I know that I want to fully focus on my business, maybe like far into the future, so I kind of just rush all my homework, rush all the school stuff, and like right now, I just try to be as productive as possible. I try to finish all my homework first, and then I try to make as much time as possible to work on my business. And I don't condone like working on other stuff in class or anything, but like when you have the free time, you need to like take that free time.
Right,
so
of course.
Sometimes I like make flyers during like different club meetings or reach out to people on Instagram during class. But just things like that to save time.
Right, you're saving all that time.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. What are some of the challenges that you faced building your brand, and how did you overcome them?
I think definitely some challenges I had with the business itself was kind of like me learning how to like advocate for myself. So in the beginning, like I always had this mindset like, oh, the customer's always right. I have to do everything I can to appease them. But I realized this isn't the right mindset to have because it can be kind of mentally draining sometimes. So I try to separate both like myself and the business. Like though I'm running the business, I'm not the business. So maybe maybe if a customer is like unsatisfied with something, I shouldn't like take it so harshly. I just know it's related to my business. And then maybe some challenges I had in the beginning was definitely just like motivation in a way. Like sometimes a lot of people like start up businesses, right? But then it ends up like they're not continuing it. And I definitely had some little like breaks that I had to take from the business. And I think just knowing when to take a break and just seeing that taking a break is okay is like a good mindset to have.
Yeah, mental health is so important for sure. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so here's a question. Have you ever considered dropping out to work on your startup, and why or why not?
So I feel like every entrepreneur has in a way. I definitely did consider it. Even in high school, like I almost dropped out of high school, but I think just like the importance of like my friends there and also the community I've built throughout high school, they encouraged me not to. And in college, I kind of had like less of the mindset of dropping out. I almost really did in high school, but in college, I've just kind of been thinking about it a little bit sometimes. But I realized there's usually this stigma against like a backup plan sometimes in entrepreneurship. I think it is important to have a backup plan, but it's also important to continue to pursue your aspirations. So I think that I know it's possible to balance both my education and getting my college degree and also working on my business. So that's why I haven't dropped out.
Yes, a girl can do both. What skills did you gain as a student that helped you as a student entrepreneur?
So some skills I gained was obviously like balancing my time. When you're in a lot of classes, you have to kind of like prioritize everything and just do things step by step. And I think that really helped me become an entrepreneur because as an entrepreneur, you're really busy. You have a lot of things to do. Your brain is kind of scrambled everywhere. So I think I've just taken in this like chaos in a way and kind of learn how to navigate it. And then possibly another skill I've learned as a student maybe is just the importance of asking for help. Sometimes teachers always or professors always like encourage you to ask questions to them or TAs, and I think in entrepreneurship that's really necessary too because it's really bad idea to go in entrepreneurship like completely blindly. That's what I did in the beginning and it was so tough. Like this has kind of been like a 8-year journey almost, and I still feel like I have things to learn, so I think that's important.
Growth mindset is super important. And on the topic of mindsets, what habits or mindsets do you think are really important for student entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs in general to have?
So again, as I like mentioned a little bit earlier, I think it's good to kind of disconnect yourself from the success of your business. Like just because your business is not doing too well, it doesn't reflect you as a person. So I think that's important to do. Another mindset is just like your typical like determination. As long as I just continue to keep trying to grow my business and just making as much effort as possible, it will be successful no matter what. I know that's kind of like a naive mindset to go with, but I think it really helps.
It's a tough mindset. Yeah. And How do you differentiate between you're putting all your effort into something when it's not working, like you've tried everything and it's not working, and then when you're putting all your effort into something and it just hasn't taken off yet?
So I think how I distinguish that, like when I'm constantly pursuing something and something's just not working out, I think it's good to kind of like analyze and maybe take outside advice. So I know like in those entrepreneurship classes here at UVA, they constantly talk about like effectuation and talking to consumers before you actually put it out. So I think that's really important. Like before you dive into something super deeply and you're super determined about it, you should definitely get some like market research or understand if there's actually a need for it. But so if something's not working out and I don't see it, obviously you do have to pivot, and you kind of have to take in mind like the sunk cost fallacy. Like even though you did put a lot of effort and a lot of money into it, like it's better to pivot in the long run. So I think that's just really important to recognize. But sometimes when I am doing something and I see there's just not much traction, but I think I do need to push a little bit more, I usually see that when I just see a little bit, just even the tiniest person, like one person is really interested in it and they kind of like advocate for me and really support that, I know that there's a broader market out there. So if I see that just tiniest bit of traction, I'll continue to push forward.
How did you raise the funds for your business?
So I didn't take any external funding. Like as I mentioned before, I had my first thrifting business and I generated some profit from that, and then I invested in my embroidery machine. So I'm just completely bootstrapped. I just reinvest the profits that I have from my business and just continue to grow it. But yeah.
Good for you. How then did you get your first customers, like marketing wise, or what was your method for that?
So related to my thrifting business that I had in the beginning, I kind of rebranded it into Lumeria. So it was kind of like a rough start. I started it in middle school, right? So I just had to constantly DM people and reach out. I was like, hey, like, do you want to like shout each other out on each other's Instagrams? And I just followed a lot of people, met a lot of new friends, and built a community. And through that, I kind of gained a good following through the thrifting business. And then once I rebranded onto the like embroidery and custom apparel business with Lumeria, I just got my first customers by DMing a lot of people. Like I think it's good to like not be afraid to be embarrassed. Like
self-advocating.
Yeah, it's a little embarrassing kind of like DMing random people, like people you don't know, but people are a lot more accepting than you think, and they're willing to learn about your business.
Have you had any mentors throughout the process who kind of helped you navigate the world of entrepreneurship or overcome your fears of reaching out to people?
So I haven't had any specific mentors. I kind of just dived into it myself. Like no one in my family is in the entrepreneurship world either. So the way I kind of went about it, if I didn't know how to do something, so for example, like when I bought my embroidery machine, it was so difficult to learn. I can imagine. Yeah, I didn't open it from the box for like 3 months. I just stopped. But I think instead of mentorship, like I kind of just tried to find friends within the community that also own businesses. So within like the online selling business on Instagram, there's a big community of members. Like I'm in a bunch of group chats. I know people personally. We like hop on calls. So I just reach out to them. I ask for advice. I'm like, hey, like something's wrong with my machine. Like how do I fix this? And they're just willing to help.
What are your best networking tips as a college entrepreneur?
I think my best networking tips as an entrepreneur is just, again, not being afraid to reach out. And I think finding just this common thread that like ties you and the person you're reaching out together is really good, especially when you're sending out cold emails or cold LinkedIn connections. You want to have this like thing that ties you. So for example, like this is kind of separate. I had this different like startup I was working with, and then I DM'd this, or I LinkedIn connected with this like consulting, the CEO of a consulting firm, and I was like, hey, like can we just like hop on a call, like learn a little bit more about your consulting firm? I realized we both live in the same city, like that's cool. And then she hopped on the call with me, and I learned a lot about her, and she learned a lot about me, and then she ended up giving me an internship offer just out of the blue. So that's just like the beauty of networking.
That's awesome. Congrats. Have you faced rejection in your entrepreneurial journey, and what would your advice be for student entrepreneurs who face rejection?
I think some advice that I have for student entrepreneurs that are facing failure or rejection, again, is just to not let that reflect on how you see yourself. It's just a business, you know, it's just a company you run, it's not you. So I think it's really important to keep that mindset. And I've definitely been through a lot of failures and rejections throughout my business, like whether it's messing up a huge order or something and like the customer being really unsatisfied, or just me reaching out to a lot of clubs, like 200 clubs in one school, and not getting a single response. Like, you just have to continue to continue to push through and not let this failure kind of just see how you see yourself.
Is what they say about rejection therapy true, where the more you get rejected, the easier it is?
I think it definitely is. Like, in the beginning, I was so scared and nervous to reach out to clubs, especially for my personal Instagram. Like, I'm sure I reached out to probably like 500 people just through my Instagram. And in the beginning, I was like, every time I saw a notification, I'm like, oh my God, like, did they say yes? Did they say no? Like, oh, I'm scared. But I think like it's literally become like automated for me. I just send the DM. If they say no, I'm like, okay, let me update the spreadsheet. So.
Okay. So the moral of the story is to keep getting rejected to get more comfortable. Okay.
Exactly.
Got it. What advice do you have for students who want to start a business but maybe don't know where to begin?
So for students that want to start the business, it's kind of your like basic advice, like just get it started. Like, I would say be naive, but also don't be naive at the same time. Like, if you're...
It's a balance.
Yeah, like if you know everything that comes with being an entrepreneur, you're not going to want to pursue it because it's so stressful and so draining sometimes. But I think in the long run, it definitely is a beneficial learning experience. So I try to, in my way I'm saying like not being naive, I'd say like don't just start a company without doing your market research. Like, you should know a little bit about the struggles and like kind of know the challenges you're going to go through, but I would not know everything, you know? The best advice that I've received for my business is just to aim big and not think it's gonna be some small like side hustle. And if you have the dream for yourself to start a business, you shouldn't let anyone kind of like, I don't know, like degrade that or anything. Another piece of advice that I received was from the old Custom Ink CEO. He actually came to our class, our entrepreneurship class last year, and he basically told us like, pursue a business that is related to your passions. Like, don't try to pursue some like B2B AI SaaS startup just because it's like the current trend or what you see is like being successful. So if you pursue something that's actually related to your passion, it's gonna end up being successful. And if it's not successful, at least you're pursuing something that you actually enjoy.
Where do you see Lumeria going in 5 years?
So in 5 years, I first hope to expand to a lot more universities and have a larger presence of college ambassadors. And through that, I really see the ability to scale. And right now, my manufacturing processes are a little operationally deficient. I just make it in my apartment. So I hope one day like I can maybe have like my own factory or something in a more efficient way to kind of like make my shirts. And not only do I want to expand from the college space, I kind of want to expand to B2B as well, like working with different corporate or corporations, maybe like events. I've kind of been dabbling into that a little bit. I've been reaching out to different middle schools and also 5Ks. So I really see that. And my main kind of thing I'm focusing on is like building a community. So I'd love to have like kind of just a big giant group of college ambassadors and all of us being connected and like in the long future, like maybe even host like in-person events or something for the college ambassadors.
Yes, we need more Lumeria out there in the world. If you had to describe your entrepreneurial journey in 3 words, what would they be?
So definitely the first word I would say is stressful.
Valid.
Like, I have a lot of gray hairs from entrepreneurship. Like, I just remember some days my first year, I made everything in the first year dorm, and that's so small and you have a lot of work and it's like your first year in college. So I definitely was very stressed out. But then another word I would say is maybe just exciting. Like, whenever I get like an order or something, I hear like the Shopify thing, like I get so happy. I just like, I don't know, I just get really excited from that. And just it's more of a phrase instead of a word. I just say it's really full of learning. Like, everything you kind of do like in entrepreneurship is really a learning experience. And I think like while I'm going through that learning experience, it's really tough on me. I'm like, oh my God, like this is terrible. Like, I wish I didn't do this. But then afterwards, like I always realize that like I did learn something from it. Like, for example, in first year, like I had this like, I did bulk orders and that was my first time doing bulk orders, and I just messed up this one order so bad and it was so terrible. And like the way I did it with screen printing, so it was more manual work, but right now I kind of do it with like a machine.
Okay.
And since my dorm was so small, I had to drive back 2 hours every weekend to go back to my house and work on it. Yeah. And that was just like terrible, and that took me like a month or something to fulfill.
Oh my goodness.
And then through that, like just a mini learning experience, I wouldn't have discovered how to do heat press if I didn't go through that terrible screen printing journey. Yeah.
Okay, so there was something gained from all that struggle.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you so much for coming. We really enjoyed having you and can't wait to see where Lumeria is headed. We'll be sure to link your website and all your socials. But thank you, Nicole, for coming. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Thank you.